originally my image was to try to go down this monster hole, and when I look up, I've got this framing of the ice which beautifully frames the sky, and have Helgi somewhere placed where it detach, right? So either using lights such as his head torch, but most likely I want him to detach against the sky, right? So this little persona, this silhouette, would create this wow effect onto the image, would bring me a sense of scale and a powerful composition to actually add this human touch into the image, right? So that was the idea. So he lowers me down. I look up and I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely insane. And then I look down and I'm doubling my, oh my God, this looks insane. Because it was literally no bottom. I couldn't see a thing.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Vallerret's Creative Outsiders, where we are looking for the radical stories behind the lens. I am Lukas Riedl, as usual, and with me is the man who can design gloves and sometimes doesn't charge his batteries when he's out there. Carl, how you doing?
Good. I don't charge my batteries. Yesterday I was out for a shoot/film, and I just made it with the batteries I had. I feel like I'm good at charging batteries. Yesterday I just slacked it, but I still made the shot. Still made the shoot.
That's all we need. We need the shot. Today's guest, he has spent some years guiding in cold places. Hopefully he has charged his batteries. He's guiding in some of the quietest, coldest, and most breathtaking places on Earth, I'd say. He's a constant Aurora chaser. He composes massive polar landscapes and brings people into the remote edges of our planet. Virgil Reglioni, welcome to Vallerret's Creative Outsiders. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you, to be able to speak about the adventure and how it is behind the lens, actually.
Yeah, can I ask where you are at the moment? Because I can remember we had a chat sometimes, and you have been on a boat somewhere, connected with Starlink or something, and then you chatted to me in the background. We could hear the freaking icebergs hit the boat or something. You were totally cool, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, it could sound a bit too, right? So if you're from the other side. So at the moment, right now, I'm located in the Netherlands. I'm actually based on the west side of Rotterdam, about like half an hour, something like this. But I think last time we called, yeah, indeed, I was probably in Spitsbergen in Svalbard. Might have been on one of these expeditions I was leading, and I think it was during the summer, probably. I do a few during the summer, also in Greenland. So yeah, don't trust the stories I post on social media because they're always 1 week late. So most likely I'm not there anymore when you see where I am there.
Yeah, I got that.
So you've been bumping into icebergs?
Not icebergs, but if you hear noises, it's probably some like some sea ice or yeah, that just goes against the hull, and we're just like trying to make our way through or something. It depends. Yeah, it really depends. Ice can be complicated, but it could also be very fun to travel through.
All right.
And in your case, it's very beautiful to capture, I gotta say.
100%, yeah. I always got the porthole of my room open just in case there's something and I need to run outside to shoot.
So, what would you call yourself nowadays? Like, what is your job description?
I'll say I have like two hats. So I teach photography, so professional photographer specialized in polar environmental images and northern lights. But most likely, I would say expedition leader and guide in polar regions. One goes with the other ones. What I've like pretty much been trying to build these last years is that since 2016, I'm guiding in these polar regions. I started in Lapland in Finland, guiding snowmobiling. Which has been absolutely amazing. Dropped right into very cold temperatures, so it's been like I got baptized very early with the very cold temperatures, so that really taught me how to be prepared very quick because I really wasn't when I got there first. But yeah, throughout the years after that, I discovered new places and also new positions with work that really pushed my photography and my guiding skills. So both are going together, basically. One feeds the other one. So yeah, I've been lucky to push through this way to be able to gain more skills and more knowledge with the guiding, and to try to get higher and higher into the position to be able at the end to actually lead expeditions. And into this, try to bring the photography side and try to be expedition leader, but also photography leader. So I get to basically choose where I want to go, what type of images I want to shoot. And I'm always trying to, yeah, like come up with new ideas or new images that I do not have, which try to put the bar a little bit higher for my own self, which means also that when my guests are coming on the expeditions, the bar is also quite high because I try to do it for myself. So automatically, I guess that my guest coming on board with me will also have quite high standard of photography. So that's it's a give. It's actually quite interesting how it works.
You said you got dropped into the north of Finland on the snowmobiles and being unprepared. It's like you're already in the cold, and then you're driving snowmobiles, and that wind against your face in those temperatures, it's like instant frostbite.
Yeah.
Did you experience that?
Oh, I have actually. Yeah, we've had some days quite interesting. The longer are the trips and the heavier it is on you. Because even if you don't do like so much physical effort, it still drains you. You know, the cold is really it really sucks your energy. But
Yeah, you sleep so good.
yeah, you do sleep super good at the end of the day. That's definitely true. Yeah, but it's interesting as well because the fact of driving snowmobiles and for quite a long time keeps you very warm because you might think that you just sit on it, but yeah, it keeps you warm because you're actually moving. You know, when you're carrying someone behind you, this person is just sit and it just watch the landscape, so you get colder much quicker actually when you sit at the back.
And you've got the hand warmers on the handlebars.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually funny that you mentioned that because I got some very, very cold temperature in Lapland, and being outside every single day driving the snowmobiles, it's like you kind of build a threshold at some point. So I was like, I knew which temperature I would start to turn on the heat warmers on the handlebar, and I wouldn't do it before it reached a certain temperatures to kind of keep the thresholds of how much you sustain the cold. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it gets below -10, you might put like the volume of the heat warmer, maybe 1 out of 5, you know? And then when it's below 15 and then below 20, and then you increase slowly, you know, so you adapt your comfort into it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I found myself driving many times on below -5 Celsius, which is not crazy cold, but when you drive quite fast, it could be cold and without gloves because it keeps you warm. It's very good.
We would often be in like -20, -25 and below in the north of Sweden. And you could stay warm, but just the wind on your face, and any bit of skin would just like turn white, like so fast. If you were going, if you just had that wind blowing from you from going on the snowmobile. Yeah. I couldn't really, I mean, I had so many options to try and stop that, but essentially you just had to keep watching each other and be like, oh, you've got a white spot, and you kind of got to just warm it up.
Yeah, it's terrifying actually. It's fun until the moment that it's actually very cold and you realize okay, that's not more fun anymore. But I think the coldest temperatures I've ever actually witnessed was -42 Celsius, so it's like -44 Fahrenheit. And this was in Lapland in Finland, close to Kittilä in Levi. But yeah, we're about to go on a snowmobile tour with some guests, and it was -42 Celsius on the thermo, which was hooked against the door of where we pick up the helmets and all that. Then we still had to get on the snowmobile and drive probably not more than 30 km an hour or 40 km an hour because otherwise the wind would get so crazy. And the thing is, like every 10 minutes at such temperatures, you need to stop and you need to generally go to every single person and make sure there's no skin appeared. Otherwise, you get a frostbite within like, I don't know, a minute probably.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. A -42 with the wind feel is probably below -50 something. I mean, it's very heavy, but when it goes below -30, I honestly love it because it teaches you a lot about yourself and your own body as well, kind of, you know? Like, I'm the type of person that I have like 0.2% of fat, and weirdly, I actually do very good in cold weather, which doesn't make any sense. But it's just the way you dress, you know? Everything is about the way you dress, and you need to understand you need to move as well. You can't just stay still and do nothing, you know? It's like, and when you combine everything together, it's actually working quite good. I'm not saying on -40, it's easy, crazy cold temperatures. And also the longer you stay out there on the field and the harder it gets on you. So,
but I get it. It makes the world also look so freaking beautiful. And cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, you have those tiny, if there's just any humidity in the air, it just sticks everywhere and has this like nice covering or all the things. That's pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. We notice it a lot in these regions of polar areas when you have like car lights. If the cars are actually driving, you create these polar, like these poles, like striking up due to the humidity, which kind of freezes in the air. And yeah, and the light has to actually travel through so much more moist, like frozen moist in the air, that it really brings these beautiful colors and particles. Like in Lapland, I've had some skies for photography. It's been absolutely stunning. Some skies are literally, you look from where the sun rises all the way at the back, and you have like this rainbow color. It's just everything filtered through these frozen particles. And it's like one side on the east side where the sun rises, it's all like this kind of like purple reddish color, and in the back it's almost back to purple color. It's like you have the whole rainbow in one go. It's absolutely amazing. So the cold is very, very good. I absolutely love it.
So for everyone out there who is contemplating, you should do it. Book a tour with Virgil on Secret Atlas or Munch or whatever.
Yeah,
Where you
actually, I
find
have
him.
some more trips coming up in 2027, which are also land-based, such as in Lapland, Finland, in northern Norway, in also Lofoten Island.
So yeah, but then
Fantastic.
from all your experiences so far, the trips and stuff, what's the one shoot you will never forget, and what's the reason for that?
So I have one shot that has been in my mind for a very, very long time. This is an image that we did in Iceland with Helgi, who is one of my very good mates in Iceland, who I met actually when I was doing some rafting in Iceland. We had a small community out there. And Helgi is a very amazing person to start with, and super skillful, always playing the safe side when we're outside doing things. And yeah, well, our idea was to actually get into some moulins on the Iceland glaciers of Solemajökull in the southern side, close to Vik, for the one who know. And the idea was to capture a picture of northern lights, having him ice climbing on the sides of a moulin. So this image is actually pretty crazy. And we, in 2021, we decided, just as almost a joke, like, hey, how about we just go and check it out and see how doable this is. And I think I'll remember this night forever because it was quite interesting.
Can I just hook in here? So can you describe this a little bit better if people don't know what a Moulin is, and just to get an idea what's going on, because I think it's pretty amazing. I know the pictures and I have seen some behind the scenes, but just how can you describe what's going on and how this feels?
Yeah, so it all basically started in 2021. I started this idea with Helgi, my ice climber mate, and we decided, okay, we're gonna get to Iceland because I have a crazy shot in mind. So I reach Helgi and I tell him, hey, you know what? I have an idea and I think I need you to do that. So what we did basically is we tried to get like 3 or 4 days window where the weather looked correct, which is complicated in Iceland, to try to do a little mission to try to get on the glacier. So what we did, we took our car and we went actually camping, not on Solemajökull glacier, but like in the surroundings, so we could be close enough to reach the glacier. Day 1, full of rain. Day 2, full of rain. We're like, okay, looks great. Day 3, we started to have a bit of snow or something. We're like, okay. And then the last day, we get out there and it was like, I think 3 p.m., something like this, which for us, it felt a little bit late because the idea was to go both of us with all the gears, walk our way up on top of the glacier, and from this point, try to find moulins. So what are moulins? Moulins is like a hole on the ice surface of the glacier where the water on surface will eventually evacuate. So it's like a drainage basically. So during the summer when you have a lot of heat and the sun that is beating on the surface of the ice, it melts the water and eventually it rivers down, and it doesn't river down all the way to the edge of the glacier, but it does drains into many different holes that are basically produced on the surface of the ice. So we call these moulins. So of course they are made through the erosion of water, right? The water goes in, and then years after years after years, this becomes wider and wider. But the whole glacier is also moving, right? Because these are alive, right? So they move forward. So every single year, each moulin looks different. So even if you know a moulin from 2 years ago, if you go back to the same moulin, most likely it will have moved in position, but definitely will have moved in shape. Because of the seasons, because of volcanic eruptions there, because of anything like this. So it could fill up with snow, fill up with water if there's too much rain. There's a lot of different things. Anyway, so the idea was to get up there, find a moulin, and we reach the surface of the ice. It was maybe, like 4 p.m. and the sun was going down at 5, I think, something like this. We were quite limited in how long we needed to find this moulin. Eventually, we set up a tent just as a little shelter. So we know we could just get back out there and stay warm in the tent on the ice. And we eventually find this Moulin, but it was almost dark. And this is really what we did not want to do. We wanted to find a Moulin at daytime, set up all the ropes, and then see what happens. So we were with Helgi out there. We find this Moulin, and Helgi tells me, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna go deep inside." So it builds up like anchor points onto the ice, and he lowers himself into the hole. Now, when I describe such a hole, it is absolutely pitch black inside, and it is probably 20 to 25 meters, 30 meters deep. To be honest, that one was very hard to tell because we just couldn't see the bottom with our head torch. We were just like looking up below, and it was just pure darkness. We had no idea what was down there, and we couldn't even see it. So Helgi goes down there. And I don't know if you guys ever worked with Icelandic people, but sometimes they don't talk so much. Helgi doesn't speak so much either. So he just went down there and he came back up, and he was very focused, very, very safe, into safety and all that. And he comes back up and he's like, "Hey man, yeah, this one looks good." I'm like, "Oh, that's great. Okay." So I'm like, "What's the plan now? Do you think I can actually go down and have a look at it?" He's like, yeah, I can just rappel you down, and I would just belay you down to start with, so you can have an overall look when you're in there to see how your image would line up. So originally my image was to try to go down this monster hole, and when I look up, I've got this framing of the ice which beautifully frames the sky, and have Helgi somewhere placed where it detach. So either using lights such as his head torch, but most likely I want him to detach against the sky, right? So this little persona, this silhouette would create this wow effect onto the image, would bring me a sense of scale and a powerful composition to actually add this human touch into the image, right? So that was the idea. So he lowers me down, I look up, and I'm like, my God, this is absolutely insane. And then I look down, and I'm doubling my, oh my God, this looks insane. Because it was literally no bottom. I couldn't see a thing. So I just tell Helgi from I don't know, I think I was like 10 meters down, and I go back up, and he belays me back up, and I arrive up there and I tell Helgi, "Hey man, that looks epic. Like I think we got it, right?" So the sky was still a little bit cloudy, so we decided to go back into the tent, and we debrief. I tell Helgi the place where I went, I think I might need another 5-10 meters below, so I can have this framing of the ice very, very good. I don't want to go too deep because I also want to have enough sky. And I'm shooting with a wide angle on 15 millimeters, but I want to have enough sky to bring this power of the northern lights, but also enough of this framing of the ice. So I need to be into a special depth into that. So I told him, it was like, "Yeah, I can kind of see where you were, so I'm gonna try to rappel you down a little bit further down." Anyway, at some point we see the sky that starts to clear up, so we start to get a bit excited, and Helgi tells me, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna make a setup for you. Let me go down, and I'm gonna make something for you, so then you can be nice and comfortable when you shoot down there." I was like, "Okay, all right." He goes down.
Luxury.
What's that?
Luxury.
Luxury, right? I was like, "Okay, that's gonna be comfortable. Let's see what happens." And
If
he
you're
goes-
comfortable, sorry if I said it, if you're comfortable hanging on a rope in an ice hole drainage thing where you can't see the bottom and your only way is going back up on the ice thing. So just to sum that up, you're hanging on a piece of string with your camera gear in an ice thing on a glaciers. It just sounds
Well-
like a casual day in the office.
That's the crazy part, which is coming actually, because the thing is, like, he goes down, he makes my comfortable spot, and then he goes back up, and Helgi, being Helgi, he looks at me and he's like, "Here you go, you're done, it's all set, go for it." I'm like, I need some context, man. Like, what have you been doing down there? Like, you need to explain me what's going on, He was like, "Yeah, it's all good. You will see. When you go down, you'll figure it out and it will make sense." I'm like, no, I need more explanation. You can't just tell me to go down and then do my thing. You need to tell me, what did you do? What did you set up? What's the thing, And like, I had ice climbed a few times before, but not enough to feel completely comfortable on my own, you know what I mean? So, and that's why also, like, he's a great friend, but I trust him like so good, so that's why I was so stoked at doing this with him. Anyway, so he tells me like, "Yeah, you will see when you get down. I made some ice screws onto the ice, so they are doubled as well for great safety and all that, so you'll be good. You just have to just go down all the way down to the screws, and when you find them, you hook yourself up. All right. And what you're going to do is you're going to remove the carabiner from your harness, which is on the main rope that I'm belaying you down. Once you're all safe, you pull on it, and I bring the rope back up, and you'll be just hanging on these 2, 3 ice screws. So then you made them as a V shape, kind of W shape. So then you can also have a bit of a momentum, of a bit of sideways movement onto the ice if you need to recompose or something. But he told me basically when you get there, you'll be good. I was like, okay, I have a picture in my mind. Let's see how that goes. I start going down and I go down, down, down. And I'm like, where the hell are these screws? I was like, shit, it went actually quite further down than I thought. And we just keep on going down and I see the screws, I see the setup. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. It looks super clean, super clear, super safe as well. I'm like, okay, that's great. I hook myself up. I triple check everything, the safety on the carabiners and everything. And this feeling I had when I look down, I see this pitch black and I simply remove this carabiner from the main rope. I just remove it and I pull on the rope and I see the rope going up and I'm like, and I look down and I'm like, right, I guess that's me. I'm
Just stranded in a massive hole.
You really have to trust a friend. Like
No,
it
this
has
is
to be a really good friend if you're
this is
because you're
exactly-
there and the rope's up.
So here I am just hanging on that thing and you know it's like I explained it like this, but beforehand I was so methodical into everything I was carrying with me because I knew you need to be prepared when you do something like this. You don't just go down with your camera and your tripod on your shoulder. I had everything hooked up on slings on the side of my harness. Also, I backed up everything double, so if my tripod actually drops, it doesn't take my camera with it, and if my camera drops, it doesn't take my tripod with it. I had everything made up so it's kind of was like individually hanging separately, so it doesn't impact anything else, right? But yeah, there are things that I thought about when I was there. There's definitely things that I did not think about. Things that I thought about was how scary it was going to be. So I knew it was going to be scary to just be hanging there and just look down and it's like a black void. I lit it up with my head torch and I'm like, geez, I just don't see nothing. It's just pitch black. And then I looked up and I see the sky was starting to clear up with stars. And I was like, oh my God, this is what a place I am right now. It's unbelievable. Who does that? You know, at night time as well, it's such a special feeling. Now, there are some things that I had not thought about. One of them being that when I started to work with the photography side, I started to realize how the hell am I going to hook a tripod onto a vertical wall of ice?
That was my question when you said you had tripods. I'm like,
So
tell me more about that.
That's the question that went through my mind. I was like, okay, that's interesting. How am I going to work this out? So I had one of these rolly tripods with some of this little spike thing at the end. So I removed the little rubber thing so I could actually try to dig the spikes. And I mean, like on a pure wall of ice, which is transparent, it's like if it's concrete, you know, it's just it slides on, you know, you need to make a little dip or something for it to hook. So I was like, hey, maybe I can use like a triangle, like a sling to be able to build a triangle. So by opening the tripod and putting it vertically against the wall, I can actually make like a weight that is going to make it proper stable, you know. Helgi being amazing, he gave me a couple of slings and a couple of ice screws extra as well on my harness. So I decided to put one extra that I dig into the ice and to put a sling and I managed to actually make the tripod going down and everything. So that was absolutely perfect. And I put my camera on it and here we go. I'm stable. I have my camera. It's ready. The settings are there. I have my spare batteries. I have everything. Not like you, Carl, but no, I'm kidding. No, I had everything set up and everything, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. There are a couple of other things that I did not think of that made the shoot absolutely horrible. I'm going to use that word. The first thing as well is that when you are inside a Moulin, it does get quite wet sometimes. So if you go in October, you still have tiny little bit of water from the surface that actually goes into Moulins. Not all of them, but some of them do. Also, Moulins at the bottom, some of them are open, which allows the water to actually evacuate into subglacial rivers and then make their way all the way to the front of the glacier. But some of them are blocked and they are jammed, so they fill up with water, right? This one was apparently not jammed at all. It was very good. Anyway, all this to say that there could still be quite a lot of water that goes down. When you go inside this Moulin and you have a tiny little bit of water that streams down and that water falls down into the bottom, the noise that it produces bounces everywhere onto the surface. And I could not hear a thing that Helgi was saying. So all this explanation that I just gave you, imagine that you had the factor of a huge noise that I can only communicate with Helgi by yelling, which creates a crazy like a tense, like overwhelming feeling when you're in there, because you're already not very comfortable hanging on 3 ice screws with a black void under your feet, trying to focus on photography when you have crazy noise and you cannot hear your mate. Try to ask him how to place himself. Another thing as well is that every time I was trying to yell at him to move from a place to another, how to use his headlight, every single move he was doing, he was basically like jamming the ice with his feet, right? And with the crampons, every single small particle of ice, even some like about this big, were literally falling onto me, onto my lens, onto my helmet. I was like, holy crap, this is terrible. I was trying to tell him, try not to move too much or to not jam your feet too much. It's almost impossible. So yeah, it was very uncomfortable. Hagi was above me, so all the ice fragments were falling on my face. It was super hard, super loud as well. And of course, it was very wet. I have to say it was not that cold because it was probably like 0 degrees or -2. And inside the Moulin, weirdly, you're protected from the wind. And you're so overwhelmed by this whole situation that the cold was not a problem at all. So yeah, this was not the issue. So yeah, a lot of things that I did not think about were this. But eventually the sky cleared up and I managed to find this composition that I had. My Sony camera as well, I had this like tilted screen. At this time I was shooting with the A7R II and my screen could tilt, but because of the humidity and I think most likely because of the cold maybe, the screen stopped working. So I also had to kind of squeeze below my camera and try to see in the viewfinder. I was like, come on, can things line up for me? That would be great. So yeah, that was an interesting moment. Anyway, this moment arrived, the sky cleared, and I could see like this Milky Way starting to shape in the back. And I tell Helgi, hey man, just place yourself in this position, open your arms, turn off your light. I don't need it. And then I started to snap. And I remember taking these shots with an exposure of like 20 seconds. I think I might even have done one on 30 seconds. And this was just to be able to frame the ice and have enough exposure and enough light on all the ice around. And then I did one on 10 or 13 for my sky to try to have enough of the Milky Way as well in the back. And then I think I also safely increased my ISO for more lights, for more sensitiveness. And then I snapped one a little bit shorter to be able to make sure I have Helgi sharp, because he was basically, his position was that he was also hanging on a rope from his anchor point on solid flat ice. And he basically walked backward and opened his arm and literally it was almost, I don't know how many degrees it was, like 45 or even more. He was like hanging into the void like this, you know, just holding by the rope. So he was also not in a very comfortable position, but that helped me to have him detach from the sky, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was not detaching so well. So yeah, so we got that.
So he was kind of like horizontal down.
Yeah, maybe not horizontal down, because I think
but
in physics you will never be able to go back yourself if you're completely horizontal. But yeah, I don't know how many degrees, but it was quite. He was leaning backward quite a lot. So I think it was a bit. I don't even know if he was scared. Helgi is never scared.
At least not as scared as you. It's like kind of a.
I don't even think he was scared.
I guess it's a good thing for you being down there. And just a thought, but I guess Helgi has been removing the rope to not make you quit, because with that he took away your chance of just saying like, fuck that, I don't want to do that.
Exactly,
it's too difficult, it's too dangerous, whatever. He just took that away and said, did you get the shot?
It just left me with no option, which actually was a great idea.
The idea was to only give you the rope back if you got the shot, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave you down there. Classic. So that sounds like it was kind of one of your first ice climbing shot combinations in that style.
It definitely was. Yeah, it definitely was. So I got that image with Helgi and head back to the surface.
Did the Northern Lights come back?
So the Northern Lights, unfortunately, they did not come back this day. We managed to get clear sky, but it didn't last very long either. It was like maybe half an hour or something like that. The indexes of light were very low, so we were not super sure that we would get any appearance. And if we would, most likely we knew there would be like north, northeast, northwest, but probably not above head. But anyway, we wanted to go to actually even scout the place to know if it was doable and all these kind of things. But yeah, and anyway, after that, we just get back to the surface, and I told Helgi like, oh man, the shot is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. And by walking around the surface of the Moulin, I told Helgi, hey, what about you go down a bit and also try to shoot from above, from the surface of the ice. And I got a fantastic shot as well with Helgi, which is kind of like climbing up out of the Moulin where you see its surface and you see some of the mountain in the back of Solemajökull with the moon rising, and you have a bit of high clouds at this moment, and the moon rises and it creates this halo. I absolutely love this image. You really see the human energy inside this image with the power of nature in the back. So that was absolutely amazing. So yeah, so that was in 2021. And actually we packed the tent. I got these two images in my head. The only thing I want to do is go home and edit these images and just show it to Helgi, you know. And we pack everything. We walked back to the car. And I arrive at the car and I tell Helgi, we didn't even take a selfie. We didn't even take one photo for us that we were there, you know? I was like, after all this fear that I got through, I didn't even get a freaking selfie together. Man, really? So we're like, oh, don't worry, we'll do it again. And then I started to come up with the idea, man, we should do this every year. Like maybe not this exact thing, but every year we should try to get one person who's into this outdoor and bring this challenging, like human aspect into the photography, where I can actually place myself, which is very unique, a location which is unique, where no one goes, and also have it with someone that I love, who's my friend, that I love spending time with, that I have amazing connection, and we both love the same thing. So we're like, it's symbiosis into the landscape, you know, and then have the Northern Lights with it. I should so do that. So this is pretty much at this moment that the project I'm working on, which is called the Unique Aurora Shot of the Year, was built and was created, was in 2021. And then the year after that, I've repeated it with one of my good friends as well, called Florian Ledoux, a French polar photographer as well, who's absolutely amazing. And we did this image in 2022. He was skiing in one of these amazing mountains in the back of Tromsø. And this image is very hard to catch because while the landscape is amazing, this image is a panorama image made on different exposure times as well, to be able to get very good dynamic of light into the image. But it's especially hard because in the background you have the city of Tromsø, so you have a lot of light that casts from that. So the editing was complicated, especially on spot, but also because it's facing southeast, and that's the hardest part, is because you need to have a night where the northern lights are very strong, so they cannot actually appear into the south. This is what makes it tricky with this image. We got this in 2 attempts. I'll probably need another 2 hours to explain you the whole shot. But yeah, basically it's like we did 2 attempts, and the first one we had like minus 24 Celsius up there. Our tent and everything got blown and by like some unexpected wind, and I ended up like walking down the mountain on my snowboard. I lost my phone, almost the keys of the car. I almost gave up. And I think 2 weeks later we went back and we got the shot, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a success at the end, so it was good in 2 attempts. In 2023, I went with Maria Talmon, a friend from Italy, who was my roommate at the time when I was living in Tromsø. And we went to Uttertinden, which is in Signaldalen on the east side of Tromsø, to hike 1,000 meters elevation peak, which was an absolute amazing place and very crazy mission as well, to get the unique Aurora shot of 2023. And 2024, I decided with Pedro and a team, we decided to team up to eventually try to go back to where we were in 2021 with Helgi. So we actually teamed up and we decided we're gonna do something special, try to build up a whole documentary about this. And yeah, it's been absolutely a crazy adventure. In 2024, we actually went out there. It has not been successful because the Northern Lights didn't show up. The weather was very complicated. And we also, in total, I think we were 7 or 8 people. So the more you are, I guess you know this, the more you are into anything you do, the more complicated and the more time it takes. And yeah, but the documentary we're building up is absolutely stunning. It looks great and it looks super powerful. And we realized one thing is that the more it's a struggle to get this image and to get the final actual shot that we want into the documentary, the more the story behind the image is powerful.
Yeah.
You know? So this is why for us it's not a failure. It's actually building up the story if we cannot get the shots. You know, well, of course at some point we want the shot, but it just keeps on building up and keeps on building up, and this is what makes the strength of it. You know.
What I love about this story of going into that Moulin, if I said it correctly, is like it would have just even without taking a photo, it would have just been an amazing experience to do with your friend. Like and to combine those adventures with a project and with a goal is to me that just sounds so exciting. Like I'd love to do that. And instead of you just go out and shoot 100 pictures or whatever. You actually like focus a lot on this one little adventure that would be fun with or without the camera, and then the camera gives it purpose and then gives it meaning and drives you to do it.
Absolutely,
I think it's an amazing story.
Yeah. It's funny because many people would use the camera to immortalize the moment, you know, to have this souvenir of this moment. but it's not even the purpose here. The purpose is just to bring the creativity, and we're having fun with our friends. We have like this commitment together that we want to do this because we love it, and because it brings us this adrenaline, and because it brings us together, as a community, to be able to make this whole project. And it is based on the one photographer that has this crazy idea and brings everyone into the train and, and brings everyone together to do it. So I find it quite amazing, because also everyone was so stoked on doing such a mission. So it brought us even more together because of that.
And it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun as well, because you've been going from, it was all about hanging there with your friend and trying to get that one shot, and you didn't even take a selfie, to bringing a whole bunch of friends as a production and trying to document the whole thing. So in like a couple of years, you realize it is just about that one shot, but it's worth telling the story. Just like the excitement, I guess everyone can hear it or see it, the excitement you fall into just telling the story already. That's pretty amazing. And that's actually just a call for all the listeners. Definitely check out the show notes for Virgil's website or the YouTube version. We hopefully get the chance to overlay those photos, because they are amazing. So it's fun how you took that approach from it's just a photo and the friends to like bring all the friends and document the whole thing. I like that. I like it to evolve that idea in such a cool way.
I was looking through your socials just before the call, and I thought of something, because I've going out into the winter and taking all your photography gear is not a huge task. You just dress warm and pack your photography bag. And then splitboarding, I'll take a little less photography gear, a little more avalanche gear. But for you going out and you're climbing on these ice walls and you need like a lot of gear, how do you, like, and you can only carry so much. How do you balance that? Your photography gear, ice climbing gear, sounds like you're taking tents.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting question, because I have very often, like, I got this question of like, oh, but how do you carry all your photo gears and everything? And I'm like, actually, if you would see what I have, you would probably think like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm very not like the material and the equipment that I have. It's an equipment that I acquired because I felt that my level of photography pushed me to have this. I'm not the type of person who actually bought all this gear and then I learned everything around it and how to capture the image and realize, oh, actually my camera is great. I've done it the opposite, where I slowly built up until I realized, okay, now I need a brand new camera, because I need this and I cannot do it with this camera. So slowly throughout the years, I've managed to actually not have so much gear with me. And actually the lenses I don't have much. I have this 15 millimeters wide angle prime lens. I have a 28-200 from Tamron, which is my go-to. I shoot absolutely everything with this when it doesn't come to wide angle. And then since this year, I actually bought the 200-600 G from Sony. I
Just behind you, I think.
Yeah,
looks of it.
one, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is what I have. That's all I have. So actually, in my backpack, it fits. If I go on a mission in Iceland like this, I'm not even bothering taking my long lens, my telephoto, because that's not what I need. So I have like this tiny little bag where I have my wide angle and my versatile 28-200, and then I take 2 camera bodies just in case. So I shoot with the A7R3 and the A7C2, which I've actually taken especially for low light. So yeah, it's that's all I've got.
Keep it simple.
And then a tripod, and maybe a remote control or something. So all of this I can carry it on my back. Of course, when I'm climbing walls and stuff, like you say, I preset everything on my tripod. Like for example, as I said, I had my camera hooked on the carabiner. Same on the tripod, but my camera is already set on the tripod, correctly hooked also for so it doesn't fall or anything. But it's already set there. So if I'm on this very uncomfortable position, I can just unhook it, jam it into the ice, and then find my way to make it hold, and then I'm here and I have nothing bothering me around me. So yeah, I guess it's a balance to have in terms of the gears, the photo gears and the other gears. Yeah,
I've noticed I've done that over the last few years, is just keep getting rid of stuff, because I'm just trying to make my pack and my equipment as simple as possible, and I just keep going over the years, no longer use this stuff anymore, and having like a really simple setup, I think it's so much easier, especially when you're out splitboarding and whatever. Like just makes the pack lighter and quicker.
Yeah, I can bounce on that as well. In terms of creativity, it's quite interesting, because I've had this lens there that you see behind me. I've had it for not even a year. Last year I went to Antarctica to do a trip, and I actually shot everything on my 28-200. Everyone was like, what the hell are you go to Antarctica, you don't even have a telephoto? And I'm like, no. And every time I had my telephoto now, I just take my portraits of my animals and then I zoom out and I'm like, yeah, I need more environment into these things, you know. So you noticed if you know my photography, I rarely do portraits of animals. I want them into my landscape. I want them into the environment. I want the context. So you can see the landscape, and then you get lost in it until you realize, oh, there's this animal, and then it makes you look back again of like, what is he doing in this context, you know? So you spend a lot of time onto the image. It's made for this, that I try to build up my composition in such a versatile lens, because it pushes the viewer to pay a bit attention on the image until you realize where I place my subject, and then go back at it again on another vision. Now that you saw the subject, here is what it is. The subject is here into this environment, and you spend a lot of time on it. So yeah,
that was the other thing I noticed going through your sort of portfolio, was just your compositions are outstanding. How you frame everything, I was just like, wow.
And it really is, from my perspective, this feeling is that you really work a lot with like scaling. You love to have different that's what you also explained with Helgi, and having him with the eyes together with the sky and stuff. It's a lot of like scale, like let's say an animal versus the environment, or like a person versus the place they are in.
Absolutely, yeah.
A person versus like an aurora storm, stuff like that, which is absolutely captivating. And yeah, I think that's also what resonates to us. Like you do that in a great way, and people get stuck with it, I'd say. And you yourself got stuck with it, right? You keep on coming back doing the same thing.
And I keep staring some of my shots. Sometimes I'm always like very critical in my own images, trying to think like, how could I have done better and all these kind of things. But it's like when I'm like in the field, I don't even really have to think. It's just like I take my camera, I aim at the thing, and I can see the geometry and everything. It's almost like if I have like a visor with all these these things popping up, you know, like you see in the movie, you know. It's like I put my screen and I automatically see how my like in my environment.
You got the matrix running through your eyes here.
It's like I see where the lines are going, where they should go, where they absolutely should not go. If I put my subject, where I should put it, how should I separate it with everything around, how my subject should stand out, what's behind it so it stand out, and what leads to this subject, if it's correctly placed to orient your eye to a direction. Everything happens in like a fraction of a second when I'm shooting the thing. And weirdly, actually, sometimes I'm shooting, I don't know why I like this image, but I'm shooting it. And then when I go home and I edit my photo and I open it and I put it on a smaller scale, on a bigger scale, on a smaller scale. And I do this quite often because it's really helpful to see the geometry and different patterns into the image. You don't focus on the details, but you focus on the framing of it and the geometry inside the image. And then thanks to this, I zoom inside my image onto 100%, and then I work out what I want to pop where to get this geometry to stand out and to have my little subject to be placed where I want it. So it's interesting because it's sometime afterwards that I realize, that's why I like this photo when I was there. Didn't even realize it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. It's like
you're naturally talented.
You're taking it on the spot and you're not sure 100% why you like it. It's like, that's pretty fun. It's a cool approach. But then how did you get there? I mean, you haven't studied or anything, so how did you get
actually,
to that style or like your feeling of photography?
I've never studied photography. I've watched a lot of podcasts and a lot of tutorials and things like this in the years back. I had a couple of photographers that I really was following quite a lot, and they have taught me a lot of things with Lightroom. And then, to be honest, after that, I never really took any lessons or any course with Lightroom. I've just been playing around. I've just been like touching things. What is that? And then trying to into one very detailed thing into Lightroom, trying to go and really deeply, thoroughly try to find out, what does this do exactly? Like, yes, I can see the saturation is moving, the thingy, but what does this button does, you know, like, and then I've just been like digging like thoroughly by myself. And until, I don't know, like I've always been very creative, and I've always been drawing when I was a kid. And I think, you know, when you draw on a piece of paper, you draw different elements. When you draw them, you are in control of where you put things together, right? So if you have a mountain and you have a car and you have a guy, you're not all gonna put them behind each other, right? You know, you're gonna space them out because you want to fill up the whole paper, right? This is how you're gonna draw it. This is pretty much my approach when I go into photography. I'm moving myself around, so I actually place my things where I want them to be. So, and this is how I believe I started to work a lot on my composition, and to really being into this, where to find the leading lines and playing with the contrast and lights and stuff like that. I think it originally came out from that, because the fact that drawing really helped me with this.
Yeah, how one like creative outlet or one artistic approach can help you in another form. You know, so the drawing can help into your photography, your
Oh,
painting,
absolutely.
or whatever. It's
Super,
so cool.
it's super important, and I found it very indirectly it brought so much knowledge. Also, when I was between 17 and 22, I think I used to produce music. Most likely it was like progressive house, techno music. I was kind of okay with it. Wouldn't say I was good, but I never got produced or whatever. But the fact of producing music and having all single elements together and building them up together has taught me to be super organized within my creativity, you know, and to be progressive in doing things together. So to bounce on what you say, exactly, the drawing has brought me this composition side. Making music has brought me this really organizational area into my photography, how to be organized and how to
layer things, how to
layer
like
things
think
together.
your way through it.
It's layering is a perfect word for this, absolutely, because that's exactly what you would do when you produce music, and have them very neat and clean, you know, nothing messy. And it's the same when I was also trying to produce music. It's like you want things to be neat, to sound very clean, you know, so the sounds are not eating each other and it becomes a mess. And you want very clean and neat things. And it's the same with photography. You want elements to be well separated, well seen, and that bring your eye to the right places, you know, so it looks neat and clean. That was my vision as well. Yeah.
Well, it definitely comes across in your images. I was like, wah, wish I could compose like this guy.
I have the question: is that do you still draw?
I do draw, yeah, absolutely. I actually have a small, like a graphic tablet. I draw less and less, to be honest. But yeah, when I'm bored, sometimes I do so, and I like it a lot. And I've never really lost the creativity for it. It's always there. But yeah, I draw a little bit less. When I'm bored, I do sometimes. It's fun. But yeah, I used to draw a lot of cartoons, so that's what I
do. Do you ever draw your concepts of your images? Of you like, I'd love to have this, and you kind of play with the idea by drawing it?
Well, actually, when we did the 2022 unique Aurora shot project and the 2023, I actually drew the final image that I wanted. I drew it before I went there. And I told my mate, so Florian in 2022, I told Flo, that's what I want. In 2023, I told Maria, this is the picture I want. And she was like, really, dude? Like,
I think that's so rare for photography. But for videography, it's like 100% what you do all the time, because you got a plan. And what do you call that? What do you call that when you do like?
I'm not sure if you would
storyboarding.
In my case, you wouldn't call it drawing. It's more like a shit scribble, but it helps me to visualize what I want to get. I'm just not talented in drawing, but
the idea is there.
Yeah, it totally serves the purpose. It totally makes sense to think about the look of an image or a shot before you go take it. I mean, everyone who's taken videos is probably telling you. I mean, there is an approach to just like kind of run and gun it and then have a look afterwards. But I guess especially on more cinematic stuff, it makes sense to have an idea. And that's what I wanted to say with it seems to me like bringing in like a filmmaker perspective, like you have everything that needs to also be an amazing filmmaker, because you have the idea, and then usually people that have worked in music, they're really good in editing because you have a feeling for a rhythm and the layering and stuff. It just seems to me you have the understanding of what you want your picture to look like. You have a musical and rhythmic understanding, and then with the creativity that comes from your drawing, I guess you should make more movies, not just a documentary.
This is Lucas's hidden agenda, trying to turn every photographer into a videographer. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It kind of is. It kind of is. Actually, I was just, when I started talking, I came back like, yeah, I do that again. But
it's good though.
It was just all this
really fun to play with. Both
all the boxes were checked.
And
I was like, oh, you should do it.
You're not the only one to actually tell me this, but I don't know if I would like to do this. I'm not sure. I like my photography and my crazy mission ideas.
Yeah, they sound right.
I'll see. But you know, like yeah, there's many years to come, so who knows? Yeah, why not? Why not?
So yeah, speaking of missions, your crazy missions, what's on the horizon? What's your next crazy thing? I mean, it sounds to us like guiding in whatever small bird and walking a gun and the camera at the same time and having the to take care of all the people there. It sounds kind of boring already. So what's the
So I would bounce on this straight up and say it's never boring, because it's so different every single time. Like the further north you go and the more seasons are very different. Everything switches super fast, and this is what I absolutely love with Svalbard, is because everything is so different from a week to another, especially like in spring, autumn, and all that. What's coming up for me? I'm very looking forward to a trip I've got in 23rd of March. We're leading a photography trip in Svalbard, and this is actually quite early in the season on 23rd of March. So we expect a lot of ice and especially a lot of beautiful light. So I really emphasize on the light aspect, because when you go in Svalbard into summer, meaning June, July, August, you have most of the time this midnight sun that stays super high in the sky. So you don't even have any golden light or any interesting light, I would call it. Still have some dramatic sky and things like this, but in summer it's harder to play with light. Much easier to emphasize on wildlife, birds, and all these things. So I'm very stoked on what's coming up into March. Yeah, and then next year as well in November we have a photography trip in South Georgia coming up. Really specialized in South Georgia, so I'm definitely stoked on this one. It's a special place out there as well because the amount of wildlife that we have is absolutely stunning, and what makes it so special for me is that the first time I got there, I had to adapt my photography style to it. Because, I'm not into wildlife so much, but I'm more into the wildlife into its environment. So out there is super interesting to shoot, but it really has taught me to work on my composition more, because you have no choice but including animals. They're just everywhere. So yeah, it's been very interesting. So it's one of the most fantastic places I've ever visited and never been. Yeah, it's where you find the colonies of king penguins and many others type of penguins, and elephant seals and fur seals.
And if you say like colonies, this is like millions of penguins, not just
It's like hundreds of thousands of them. Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
Crazy. It's absolutely amazing. I think my best memory I've got at that place is actually the first time I got there. Because you got there with the ship, and the ship drops anchor, put the Zodiacs in the water, and you take your binos and you're like, where are we gonna land? And you just look at the thing and you're like, I don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't see any beach. Where's the beach? And then you jump into the Zodiacs and you get closer and you realize that there is no beach because it's packed of animals. That's why you don't see where the beach is. So then you arrive and you literally have to go along the beach with your Zodiacs to try to find a place which is at least a few meters square with no animals, so you can go on and push them away. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
The density of animal is absolutely crazy. Yeah.
And I'm sure you're really gently pushing them, because it might sound a little rough to people out there. Like, we push those penguins away.
You're not pushing them away with your tripod, and you gently push them. Respectfully, of course, yes. But yeah, no, it's an absolutely stunning place. And yeah, and the weather forecast is very tricky there. You're exposed you're exposed to the elements because you're in the middle of nowhere. So when you look on the map where it's South Georgia, you understand this is also why we only visit the eastern side of South Georgia and not the western side, because you have all these waters coming from the Drake Passage that are smashing against the western side. And so yeah, it's a very tricky place. It's a very beautiful place, but it could be very like dangerous and wild at places.
Is it possible you're a little bit of a, it's not an adrenaline junkie, but are you getting bored quite easily? Because whenever I see you go on trips like to China or to Turkey with your lady, and every time it comes back, it's like, it looks amazing. So I don't know how you do that, but you're not just going somewhere and laying on the beach. Is that correct?
No. Well, I actually do like that too, but I lay down for a couple of hours and then I'm like, yeah, so now what?
Yeah, I'm the same. I got to do something, man.
And Nikki, my girlfriend, is the same. Like, she's when we're at home, we feel the urge of doing something all the time. So it's hard to stay home and do nothing. It's needed many times, but it's sometimes complicated to reach and to do that. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it as well to just be home and do nothing and just relax. It feels good. But when we do a trip, traveling to like China or Cappadocia, we just came back from Cappadocia now in Turkey, and that was actually quite amazing. And we're always trying to do it so we can build up kind of a portfolio of images. Like, for example, in China, it's not so much my cup of tea in terms of landscape, because it's there's no ice, there's no snow, and this is not my thing usually. But then every time I go to a different place, like in China or like wherever it would be in Thailand with these crazy mountains, I'm like, imagine this with Northern Lights. I'm always
To give this a little bit of context, Virgil and Nikki are both nominated for Aurora Photographer of the Year 2025. That, just to give that a context, that they're
in-house
kind of like addicted to the Northern Lights.
Yeah. There's a house fight going on there. Now, the great thing as well is that she got hers with an image from Ruka, from Risi Tunturi, where all these crazy, beautiful trees are. So we went there on a trip together to catch that. And mine is an image that I took on an expedition with the Secret Atlas, which is my photography trip in Scoresby Sound in East Greenland. where we actually specialize in trying to capture northern lights with the giant icebergs. Yeah, there's not many people who do that, so I'm super stoked that it's also 2 images, very different. So that's super cool that we both got into this this collection and got recognized as a 2025 Northern Lights Photographer of the Year. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So
Love it.
what's going to happen if you win or she wins? Is the other one going to be
Well, we have
like
to change
happy
house, I
for
guess.
that one, or is it going to be be like, congratulations, you're out?
Congratulations! I sleep on the couch tonight. No, yeah, it's great. It's great accomplishment. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, and when we travel, it's amazing because places like China or like Cappadocia, where we always work so much, and Nick works a lot as well into trying to find places to go, connection with people, and things like this. So, for example, in Cappadocia, the series of images I could never have done it without Nick, because she found the guy who we wanted to shoot with, and then it was super cool. It's always very, very interesting to do, because when you share your passion and your the creativity, in life with the person you're with, it makes things so easy. We
Yeah.
travel together. She's so into photography as well. That we're so patient as well with each other, and if you're someone who's not so much into photography, it could be hard to explain and to share with someone. So
Mm,
very grateful for this
gotcha.
and very proud of her as well.
nice.
Cool.
Fantastic. Should we do some quick fire, Lucas?
Yeah, I think it's about
Or do
time.
you have something else?
Actually, it's funny. It's like I have a stoke to go out and shoot something. It's just a
Yeah.
feeling.
I don't
I was
know
like
that
making
I've
up my mind.
ever-
It's like for context, we're recording this just before Christmas, and I was like, it's all the family stuff going on, but what can I go out shoot now? It really have this
Yeah.
like talking about.
I
it
don't
for
think I've
like an
ever
hour.
spent 4 days. I don't think I've ever spent 4 days or like a long period of time trying to get one shot. Like, I think I might have to put that on my to-do list. Like, go and find a project and scope it and hunt it.
Yeah. But you know what? I think what was very important as well is to be patient. I think many people are not patient. That's the thing. And I was not either for a while. And because the thing is, every time I would try a project and it doesn't work, I don't say it fails, because it builds up stories anyway at the back of it. But I would say every time it's not successful at this attempt, then I always think like, it's okay. I have the whole time. The only thing that's pushed pressure on me is if someone gets the shot before me.
Yeah.
But after a while, you realize as well, one thing is that this image that I want, for example, in the Moulin with the Northern Lights and stuff, I've seen it like 2 or 3 times already from people. And it's interesting because every time I see it, I'm like, wow, the shot is amazing. But what I love about it is that I would have not composed it this way, and I would have not edited this way. So whatever happens, the image that I'm going to create, it comes from me, and it's my own creativity to it. So even if someone has the shot, it will never be exactly like I want it, because it's
Yeah.
my will. It's how I want to create it and how I want to build it. So even if this image is taken, first of all, the shot will never be like I want it exactly, even if it's taken, unless the guy has really this exact vision that I have, which could happen, definitely. But also we're building a whole documentary behind it. So it's also something which is powerful, So
Yeah, and it's
I'm
the,
not so
it's
worrying
the
about it.
classic. I think it's the classic feeling also of it's not just a picture, it's the whole experience you had with your friends, with the trips, with the
Yeah,
camping, with the
that's the
climbing,
thing,
with the
and-
fear. All that
Yeah.
together makes that photo more special to you, even to all the people that see it and think it's an amazing photo.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to touch on one thing as well, is that I've got many times asked about AI and how it ruins photography work and stuff like that. But the story you build behind an image, you build a commitment to people to reach the end, because you're eager. You want to know if he finally gets that shot or what's going to happen. You want to have this connection with people, and all of this done into a creative way and bringing this outdoor passion for it, So it's something that can never be replaced by AI,
No.
When you have this,
and
like,
that's
There's one thing that AI
That
can
was
give
great.
you. AI can put the Aurora on top of your Thai mountains.
could
in-
do that, yeah.
just
but, yeah.
But then,
Just
yeah, no,
saying.
but I get it. I get it.
That's
It's
what I
like-
love about your approach is you just go for the adventure and you go for this thing that was just be so fun to do, and then to get an image afterwards or have that as like the goal that attracts the adventure.
Exactly.
The
yeah.
carrot at the end makes
yeah.
makes it, and you,
It
you're
is the
totally
carrot
right.
at
You
the
can't
end,
can't go produce that image because it's not really about the image. It's about the experience.
It's more
and
than a photo.
having fun.
Yeah,
Just having
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, only one life. It's made to have fun, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
All right, quick fire.
All right, I just
What you got?
got an easy one. I think I have it, but Aurora or icebergs.
Man, can I do both in the same time? I'll
You
pick
gotta-
Aurora.
I gotta force you to choose one. What do you prefer?
Aurora, I'll choose.
I thought so. I really thought so.
You thought so?
Yeah. I think that one has been answered, but wildlife as the subject, or do you use wildlife for scale?
Yeah, for scale, for sure.
And one word that describes your creative drive.
Actually, patience could be good.
Absolutely. Right. That was it already.
That was it.
I need to go outside
That was
now.
it.
I need to shoot. I'm going to take some
Go ahead and
cell
shoot.
phone snaps on the way home later. So that, I guess. Virgil.
What you can do is you can go crawl down a drain in the street. You can take one of those big lids off, crawl
Yeah.
down there, and just wait for someone to walk past, and
I
you
just
can
need- yeah.
emulate.
I need to have you like hang down on top of me or something just to.
All this time, I could have done it this way. Damn, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Virgil, thanks for sharing your crazy, amazing, fun, dangerous
Yeah,
adventures
thanks a
with
lot,
us.
guys.
Thanks,
you so
Virgil.
much.
It was awesome just to listen to the adventures.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks a lot, and it's been a pleasure to share all this, and hope to get to inspire people as well to get out and do your passion, man. Just do what you love to do. That's it.
Word.
Thank you.
That's what I said.
Word up.
And to everyone listening, as usual, you can find all the links, background info, and resources about Virgil in the show notes. Make sure to check it out. It's really worth it. And keep an eye out for the documentary. There's a full video version on YouTube in case you're just listening. We're putting some additional visuals on top and some behind the scenes content. So if you want to see more, head over there. Anyway, subscribe, leave us some comments if you want to tell us to do better, ask some questions to Virgil. We're gonna forward them for sure. We always love hearing your thoughts, and we love hearing the stories that like Virgil told us. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Vallerret's Creative Outsiders. Peace out.